Nightmare Files.
When I was 16, I was on my laptop late at night, with all of my lights turned off, sitting up in my bed with my covers on from the waist down. This was nothing out of the regular because I did this every night. But this night would not end as a regular night. At this point in my life, I thought I was an untouchable teenager. I just wanted to throw that out there. I decided to go on the deep web, but it wasn't my first time, as I have probably done this almost every night for about 2 weeks now. But I never saw anything weird, just mystery boxes and weirdos with fake gore videos. So this night, I decided to go a little darker, even though my friend, who got me into visiting the deep web, he told me not to click on anything crazy. What's the worst that can happen? So I come across these weird links that say toenails for sale, and other stuff like Michael Jackson's breath in a jar for sale. Weird. To myself, I thought, this isn't dark, it's just some weird stuff. So I started searching even more. Then I saw other stuff like, is anyone in need of a 4-year-old boy? And who needs a woman mannequin? I sort of laughed when I saw that one. Then I started searching for more. Then I started to see the sick stuff. Fresh body parts for sale, real life snuff film for sale, and a link that said, don't click or else. So I sat there and I stared at the don't click or else. So guess what I did? Yep, you're right, I clicked it. When I clicked on the link, my laptop started glitching and it went black for a second, then back to the screen where I clicked the link. I was confused, so I clicked it again, and it did the same thing. Again, I was confused. So I clicked it one last time, and it went straight to a screen that was black. And out of nowhere, a chat bubble popped up that said, I told you not to click it. I thought to myself that this was a bot, and someone trying to scare me, so I X'd out of it. So I just sat there, looking at the screen, waiting for something to happen for about 5 minutes, and nothing. So I got up and I left my laptop on my bed, so I can go downstairs to get something to drink. And while I was in the kitchen, I heard my little sister walking around in her room, which is right above the kitchen, but usually she's asleep by now. But I thought nothing of it. I go back upstairs, get back in my bed, and back on my laptop. By that time, I had to touch the mouse pad to get the screen back on. As the screen faded back on, I can tell something looked different. Then the text bubble popped up and it said, don't ignore me. I thought to myself, this is another bot. I clicked X and it was gone. Then the chat bubble popped up again and it said, you were thirsty? At this point, I was honestly scared because I was babysitting my sister and my parents were out on a date night. I responded with the question, you can see me? Then the other person immediately responded, you don't have to type, just talk. I can hear you. I was shocked and I literally said, oh my God. As soon as I said that, the guy responded in the chat and it said, God has nothing to do with this. I hopped up and put my Adidas on so I can haul ass out of my room to get my sister. Then a photo came through the chat, and it was a picture of my little sister sleeping. I took off into my sister's room, and there she was sleeping with the window wide open. I woke her up and yelled for her to come with me so we can get outside. As we exited her room to run toward the stairs, my parents' room door opened slowly. We stopped running because we were confused. My parents were supposed to be gone. I yelled out for my mom and my dad. Then I received a text message from a weird number from overseas that said, no, but if you want me to be your dad, I will. When I looked back up from my phone, my parents' door was fully open, and an older man was standing right there dressed in fully black, smiling at us. At that point, I was frozen in fear, but I had two choices. Pick my 8-year-old sister up and haul ass down the stairs, or sit there like a dummy to see what this guy's intentions were. As we're standing there, the man said, "I told you not to click the link." As soon as he said that, I put my sister over my shoulder, and the man started running toward us. I booked it down the stairs, hearing his footsteps about 10 feet behind me. Then I hear him slip down the stairs. As he fell, I was able to gain more separation between him and us, so I ran outside with my sister over my shoulder. I went to my next door neighbor's house, and they called the police while I called my parents on the phone. When the cops arrived, they searched the house, and the man wasn't there. I turned over my laptop and my cell phone to the cops. My parents arrived, and they were visibly upset. And as I was giving my statement to the cops, my mother, she received a text message that said, "Your daughter looks tasty." And my father received a text that said, "I told him not to click the link." Till this day, the man has not been found, and I will never visit the deep web again. A few years ago, while I was in high school, the deep web was becoming very popular. I never really got into it until my friend told me about it because he was into that weird stuff. One day after school, I had nothing to do, so I went onto the browser Tor. I didn't really see much, so I called my friend over so he could help me out. Once he got to my house, we started searching more and more. We saw a lot of drugs and illegal weapons, stuff like that. Then he clicked on a link that was in a chat room, and the link said, "Watch this." As we're sitting there, we were just staring at the screen that went from black to the outside of a building within a few seconds. And out of nowhere, a sticky note that said, "Want to see something cool?" So then I typed, "Yeah, sure." What was weird was the guy wouldn't type. He just showed sticky notes in the camera. And he also never spoke. All of a sudden, the camera started moving toward the building that it was facing. As we're watching him move toward the building, we noticed that the building was in our neighborhood. Then he quit moving and put another sticky note that said LOL. That kind of creeped me out. And then a person entered the building, which was eerily dark. The camera stopped at a padlocked door and then unlocked it and opened it. The camera moved toward the back of this dark room, and there was a dog bowl on the floor. Now at this point, the camera was only facing the dog bowl. A few moments later, whoever the person was that was holding the camera put something in the bowl that looked like just slop. Honestly, it looked like feces. Then you hear another door open and a girl crying in the background, along with a chain dragging. This girl shows up in the camera crying, with a chain around her neck, and the guy shoved her face in the bowl and put a sticky note in front of the camera that said, "Cool, right?" Then the screen goes black. We sat there for about 10 minutes in disbelief, but the stream was still live. Then out of nowhere, the camera was back on, and it was in the corner of my street. Then another sticky note that said, 545 East 99th Street off of St. Clair. That was my address. Then another sticky note that said, "Open the door." We sat there confused, then out of nowhere, a knock at the door. I grabbed my phone, jumped up, and we both ran to the back door. Then we heard a knock at that door right before I grabbed the handle. At that point, we had someone at the back door and someone at the front door knocking. We were stuck. Critical thinking wasn't my strength at that point. We ran upstairs, called the cops, and locked ourselves in my room. The cops showed up, but no one was outside. Only items that the cops found were 100 sticky notes, all with my address written on them. I told the cops about the building with the girl, and they found it. The girl was 14 and had been missing for 5 weeks. We moved out of that house within a week. But I would never visit the deep or the dark web again. This all started the night my girlfriend dumped me on Valentine's Day. The bad thing is that she lives right across the street from me. Anyways, with no date, I visited the deep web for about an hour. Then I went to a discussion forum. I decided to leave her address in there with the title of "Visit if you want a good time." Nobody responded to it, so I got off the laptop and played PUBG. About 2 hours after I started, I got bored, so I went back on that discussion board and noticed a few replies. It was 27 replies from the same person, and it asked, "Are you home?" I didn't think much of it, and I got off my laptop again. I decided to play a prank and order some pizza to my ex-girlfriend's house. About 45 minutes later, I see a car pull up with no lights on. At this time, it's about 8 p.m., so it's pretty dark by now. I thought to myself that this was weird. But anyways, the car parked, and the man in all black got out and started walking to her door, but he didn't have any pizza. I thought that was really weird, so at that point I walked away from my window because she'll be able to see me when she opens her door, and it'd be pretty obvious that I played a prank. When I came back to the window, I saw something that made my blood boil to the fullest. This man was dragging her down her front stairs as she was kicking and screaming. I then opened my window and yelled for him to stop. Then I proceeded to run down the stairs to go outside to help her, but by the time I got outside, he was in the car with her. I jumped in front of the car to stop him, but he hit me with it, and he sped off with her inside. I laid there in pain until the pizza man actually showed up. He called the cops. I never told anyone that I provided her address, but at the same time, that person replied, and he said thank you in that post. I can't tell anyone about this because I don't know what would happen to me. But since that day, no one has seen my ex-girlfriend, and I will never go back on the deep or the dark web.